Hi folks. Well, I have a charge controller, solar panel charge controller, and the primary basically power transfer goes through this solenoid here. Now I found that the solenoid got extremely hot, and the solenoid was by itself. It was not part of the heatsink. So what I did is I incorporated the solenoid into a large heatsink. You can see it down there. Now this particular hole that I had to drill was 1 5/8 inches. Now if anybody has a similar item, or just have a solenoid that really gets warm when it's being used, you might want to heat sink it. It's going to make your solenoid last that much longer for making its contacts and carrying the current through it. And basically the duty cycle is going to go up. And meaning duty cycle means basically how long the solenoid can stay engaged. So if it's 20% duty cycle, that basically means 20 minutes out of the hour. If it's 40% duty cycle, then basically 40 minutes out of the hour. 10% is 10 minutes out of the hour. Any more than that, and the likelihood of burning out the solenoid is very likely, because it just can't deal with all the heat. It basically goes into meltdown. It needs to have time to cool down. But I found that I've never actually seen a solenoid in a heat sink. So I mounted it into a heat sink here, and that's going to allow the solenoid, when it actually gets warm and hot, the aluminum heat sink here is going to take the heat away from the solenoid, and it's going to travel up the fins here and travel away from it. So basically the heat sink is acting like a thief, stealing the heat away from the solenoid when it's under load. Therefore, the solenoid can tolerate just that much more heat, because as soon as the heat pretty much enters into the solenoid, it's going to leave the solenoid into the heat sink, and then it's going to travel up the heat sink and leave altogether into the basically environment. So I'll make another video down the road and let everybody know how it turned out and how it's working, if I remember to. But I'm pretty sure that it's self-explanatory here. It's going to work well. So anyhow, if anybody has a charge controller, or really any such issues with a solenoid getting really warm, and they're a little bit nervous on the heat that gets developed within the solenoid itself, throw a heat sink to it. So that heat can release itself from the solenoid much easier. Well, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you have not, and thank you very much for those that have.